Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Tinubu receives Adamu Omisore at State House. Akwa Ibom State Assembly screens, confirms 24 commissioners and special advisor nominees sent to it by Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino. Firefighting plane pilots die in Greece crash as wildfires rage. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First in the news tonight, President Bola Tinubu today received in audience the immediate past National Chairman and Secretary of the governing All Progressives Congress Senators Abdullahi Adamu and Iyola Omisore, respectively, of the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja. Today's meeting comes 1 week after Adamu and Omisore reportedly resigned their positions just days to the scheduled National Caucus and National Executive Council meetings earlier slated for Monday, July 18 and Tuesday, July 19, 2023, respectively. At the time, Tinubu was away in Kenya for the 5th Media Coordination Meeting of the African Union and have not met both former officials until today. Adamu reportedly declined to make any comments on the development until the president's return. Though the details of the meeting could not be ascertained, it is believed to be connected to the issues surrounding the party leadership. Away from that, now the federal government has identified poverty and vulnerability as among the major challenges facing Nigeria. The Permanent Secretary, Political and Economic Affairs, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Isubwana Nko Asanye, made this known during the opening ceremony of a two-day policy and programmatic dialogue workshop on Nigeria's poverty profile and social register. The program, which was organized by UNICEF, the Ministry of Finance, among others, focused on Nigeria's poverty profile and social register. The Permanent Secretary, who represented the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, said it was crucial to recognize the impact of the issues of poverty and vulnerability on Nigerian citizens. From the red chambers now, the Nigerian Senate has called on the federal government to halt the proposed increase in electricity tariff by the 11 distribution companies DISCOs in the country. The upper legislative chamber also stressed the need to allow ordinary Nigerians breathe, insisting that anything that will bring untold hardship on citizens must be rejected. These were some of the resolutions reached today after a debate on a motion sponsored by Senator representing Oyo Central Yunus Akintunde. In his presentation, Akintunde maintained that the DISCOs have no justification to the hike, especially as the price of natural gas has not been reviewed. Senator Akintunde also noted that the proposed increase will significantly impact the affordability of electricity and further impoverish the lives of average Nigerians.
The Senate is further concerned that the proposed increase will significantly impact the affordability of electricity for the average Nigerians, further exacerbating the financial burden faced by our households and businesses. That less than 1 week time frame window provided by National Electricity Regulatory Commission for comments from all relevant stakeholders is too small for any meaningful engagement. The Senate is further concerned that high electricity tariff will impede industrial growth, job creation, and overall economic development. This will have adverse effects on the nation's drive towards sustainable development and poverty reduction.
Thank you, Mr. President, once again. Distinguished colleagues, it is important to note that the removal of fuel subsidy has adversely affected the general prices of goods and services within the economy. with a very high rate of pass-through inflation. Electricity is one of the primary factors of production. An increase in electricity tariffs, as currently proposed, will increase the problem of the inflation and compound Nigeria's inflation crisis. While the pros and cons of subsidizing consumption can be debated every day, the benefits of subsidizing production is inherent. Vast multiplier effects in the local economy. I would like to back the motion, which was co-sponsored by myself and aptly read by Senator Yunus Akintunde, by calling on the federal government to intervene as a matter of urgency to halt.
After the widely debated motion, the Senate further called on the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, to explore alternative measures to address the financial challenges faced by the DISCOs instead of allowing them to increase their tariff. Meanwhile, Senator representing Edo North Senatorial District, Adams Oshomole, has tendered a public apology to his colleagues after members of the 9th Senate over a TV interview that may have misrepresented members of the 9th Senate of allegedly looting their offices at the end of their tenure. The lawmaker's apology followed a point of order raised by his colleague representing Ogun West Senatorial District, Senator Solomon Olamilekan, who highlighted a breach of his rights by the interview in question. According to the lawmaker, the action by Senator Oshomole has not only implicated members of the 9th Senate, but has also put members of the National Assembly in bad light. Senator Olamilekan, while explaining the rationale behind the lawmaker's entitlements, sought further explanations and a public apology from Senator Oshomole on the said matter in order to set the record straight and avoid further misrepresentation of the National Assembly. Senator Olamilekan's demands also enjoyed the support of some other lawmakers who also demanded further explanation from the lawmaker in question. The Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barau Jibrin, provided a better clarity on the matter, explaining that the office equipment depreciates by 25% each year and that by the 4th year it would have depreciated to 0%. He further explained that lawmakers are given the privilege to either defer or purchase it for a token, which shall be deducted from their severance gratuity or make direct payment.
I'm sure with profound respect, having listened to my explanation, you know that if anybody got the impression that I accused the senators, that was certainly not the intention, and that was certainly not what I said. But for those who feel that that's my comment, which was meant to protect our collective image, was offensive, of course I apologize. Because I cannot leave the comfort of my home to go and abuse a house in which I am a member.
Thank you very much. Distinguished Senator Oshomole, the
distinguished senator of the Federal Republic told the whole world that we looted our offices, that chairs, tables, televisions were carted away by the senators. I feel very strongly about this, and I believe my privileges have been breached. As one of the distinguished senators that served in the 9th Senate, Mr. President, very distinguished colleague, this is a very serious matter. Our colleague was speaking to Nigerians. He was addressing Nigerians about this Senate. And knowing fully well that it's not possible for any senator to move a pin out of this National Assembly without the express approval of the management. Mr. President, the procedures are clear. At the end of our tenure, all the assets in our office will be verified by the management. We will sign for it. And if anything is not complied with or any asset is missing, your severance payment
will not be paid. Media. And I even thought that it is fake news. So I'm surprised that my colleague is bringing it here, which means that it is true. Mr. President, that statement is misleading. It's very defamatory. And we will not take it as a Senate. I equally serve in the 9th Senate, and I know that the content of that interview is false.
When you register your acceptance, you can now go away with those items. And you pay. You either pay through cash or through your severance gratuity. And they will remove the money automatically for your severance gratuity. And such monies are taken directly to the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the federal government. So those items that were removed legally, and it's tradition in every end of every Senate. So it's possible because our colleague is new, Mr. President. Our colleague is new. He doesn't understand this tradition in the Senate.
But the fact that the journey to this place is not easy. Number two, in my view, what I did, and I'm happy it is recorded, at no time in the course of my reply to the allegation made by the TV host, at no time did I say that senators looted their office. I never said so. And I will challenge with respect to the mover of the motion to show that clip of the channel's television. What I said was this: I said offices were vandalized. And Mr. President, except that people didn't take our informal chat seriously, I've had calls in your office, in the office of the Deputy Senate President, and in other offices where we agonize over the state of our offices. And I said on that television, I said, many senators here have had to use their money to procure basic needs for their office because the ones that were there before were removed. I never imagined even now. I do not believe that a senator will vandalize his own office. Why? So how can anybody accuse me that I accuse senators of vandalizing offices?
Away from that, now from the Green Chambers, Nigeria's House of Representatives has expressed a commitment to give priority to citizens' engagement in its budget process, law reforms and social welfare conditions, among others. The Speaker of the House made this known during a stakeholders' engagement on the 10th House of Representatives legislative agenda, saying that the essence is to allow citizens the opportunity to evaluate lawmakers' performance. According to him, the meeting was convened to harness stakeholders' input that will help achieve the legislative mission of the 10th House of Representatives and to create an environment for citizens to achieve their creative potential.
The desire is to have a legislative agenda that meets the yearning and aspirations of citizens and with which they will use as a benchmark to evaluate and assess our performance after 4 years. Therefore, today's meeting should not be seen as the usual talk shop. Consider it a critical national assignment. Our engagement with citizens will go beyond today's consultations. The openness project of the 10th House of Representatives requires regular consultations with people as we strive to return the legislature to those who own it through regular, meaningful and productive engagements.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has also called on resident doctors in the country to suspend their planned strike actions in the interest of citizens who will bear the brunt of the action. He made the passionate plea while receiving representatives of the doctors in his office in Abuja. The Speaker says the House of Representatives is not unmindful of the sacrifices and contributions doctors in the country have made over the years, despite the brain drain that has hit the profession. in the country, with many leaving in search of greener pastures, that they chose to remain.
We hope to even go beyond the steps and actions taken by the previous House to ensure that we find a lasting resolution to the ever-lingering crisis. We are not unmindful of the many sacrifices resident doctors have continued to make in the health sector, in spite of the many challenges we face and the poor working conditions within which you work. While many of your colleagues have left the shores of our country in pursuit of better working conditions, you have chosen to remain behind in service to the fatherland. We commend you for this and assure you that we would deploy every legislative instrument available to us to ensure that you are fully compensated and rewarded for this act of patriotism.
In a separate development, operatives of the Department of State Services DSS today rearrested suspended Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Godwin Emefiele after a tussle with officials of the Nigerian Correctional Service NCS. Emefiele's rearrest occurred on the premises of a federal high court in Lagos sitting in Ikoyi after Justice Nicholas Owebo admitted the embattled and suspended Apex Bank chief to bail in the sum of 20 million naira. The judge also ordered that Emefiele be remanded at the correctional center pending the fulfillment of the bail conditions. Shortly after the ruling, DSS operatives strategically positioned their Hilux pickup van used in bringing Emefiele to court in a manner suggesting that they wanted to take him back to their detention center. This prompted Emefiele's lead counsel Joseph Daudu, a senior advocate of Nigeria SAN, and other lawyers to raise an alarm about their client's planned rearrest by the secret police. Meanwhile, the president of the National Industrial Court, Abuja, Justice Benedict Kanieb, has dismissed a suit filed by the Academic Staff Union of Universities ASU challenging the registration of the Congress of University Academics, CONUA, and the Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Academics, NAMDA, as trade unions by the federal government. Delivering judgment today, Justice Kanieb held that Section 27 of the Trade Union Act allows for more than one trade union in employment, noting that the section does not depict trade monopoly. The court held that ASU did not present any evidence before it to show the complete registration of CONUA and NAMDA where it filed the suit. It further held that ASU also committed an error by filing against NAMDA as the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics instead of the Nigeria Association of Medical and Dental Academics, a mere misnomer to a description in a suit that appears only when a person has a jurisdictional name or is in existence. In electoral matters, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmood Yakubu, and national commissioners of the electoral umpire today met with leaders of political parties at the commission's headquarters in Abuja. According to the commission, the aims of the meeting included the review of the 2023 general elections as well as preparations for the November 11, 2023 off-season governorship elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa states. Reports say the meeting, which is the first public gathering by the electoral umpire with leaders of political parties, was attended by the acting chairman of the All Progressives Congress APC, the People's Democratic Party PDP, as well as chieftains of other political parties led by the national chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, Yabaji Sani. In a separate development, days after the management of the Nigerian Port Authority (NPA) and the Lagos State government commenced the clearing of shanties along the port access roads, the NPA has said there is an increasing extortion along the access roads of the Lagos and Tin Can Island port complexes. According to the statement, the NPA Managing Director Mohammed Bello Koko had earlier met with the leadership of the various levels, including the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, Federal Road Safety Corps, and the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, stressing the need to collectively nip the menace of extortion in the bud. Meanwhile, the Managing Director of NPA, Mohammed Bello Koko, during the clearing of the shanties lamented that these acts of extortion and allied illegalities are injurious to trade facilitation and vowed to deal with any staff member involved in the extortion. Away from that, now, Jigawa State Governor Omar Namadi has approved the appointment of 6 new permanent secretaries. This was contained in a statement signed by the head of civil service, Hussaini Kila. He said the new appointees were directors elevated to positions of permanent secretaries to fill existing vacancies in the state civil service. They include Musa Muhammad Yalman, Muhammad Mahmoud Dawaki, Abdul Ibrahim, Isyaku Shehu, Ibrahim Adamu and Dr. Abdullahi Omar Namadi. He said the appointment of the new permanent secretaries was based on merit, competence and personal integrity. To Osun State now, where Governor Ademola Adeleke has appointed his spokesperson Olawale Rashid along with 29 others as special advisors. He also appointed former People's Democratic Party PDP's caretaker chairman and his secretary Dr. Adekunle Akindele and Femi Karina, as well as a former local government chairman under the All Progressives Congress APC, Sakinat Khalid. A statement issued by the governor's spokesperson Olawale Rashid today stated that of the 30 special advisors, 10 are cabinet rank, adding that the inauguration of the new aide will hold tomorrow, Wednesday, at the government secretariat. In a related development, Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has called on members of the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics ASIP in the state protesting the recent suspension of the rector Dr. Tajuddin Adewale Adetayo to be calm and not allow themselves be used by the opposition party. The governor stated this today in a press statement signed by the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Oluomo Kolapo Alimi, assuring the ASIP and the students of the institution that the matter will be looked into and necessary measures taken. The governor urged them to shun the protest, which had led to closing the school gate, thereby disrupting the ongoing examination. Back here, the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly has screened and confirmed the 24 commissioners and special advisor nominees sent to it by Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Omoino, and by implication, giving its go-ahead for the selected individuals to be assigned portfolios by the governor and ushered into the State Executive Council of the new administration. Their confirmation followed the motion moved by the Deputy Leader of the House, Otobong Bob, representing Insurubium State constituency, and duly seconded for the adoption of the report of the House Committee on Judiciary, Justice, Human Rights and Public Petitions after their individual screening on the floor of the House. During their screening, all nominees on the list took turns to reel out their resume and furnish the House with what is expected of them if given the opportunity to serve. Also, individual representatives of their respective constituencies vouched for the nominees' pedigree and quality for service delivery. After the individual screening of the commissioners and special advisors designates, with a motion again moved by the Deputy Leader of the House, Otobong Bob, for their confirmation, the Speaker of the House, Udeme Otong, in his decree urged the Clerk of the House to convey the resolution of the House to the Governor. Consequently, sitting was adjourned to Tuesday, 1st August 2023. Still to come in the news. IMF raises 2023 global growth forecast. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. We move on now to Africa, where the U.S. has announced sanctions against 3 top Malian officials said to be co-coordinating the spread of Russian private military firm Wagner in the West African country. According to U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, they are Mali's defense minister, Air Force chief and the deputy chief of staff. He says civilian deaths have tripled since Wagner forces were deployed to Mali in December 2021, adding that many of those deaths were the result of operations conducted by the Malian armed forces alongside members of the Wagner group. Still in Africa, the Housing and Urban Development Minister, Celestine headquarters says the 4-story building that collapsed in Cameroon, killing 34 people, had been built without a permit. Cortez, who visited the scene in Douala, said investigations have been launched and rescue efforts will continue so that nobody is left trapped under the wreckage. Meanwhile, the head of Cameroon's Order of Civil Engineers, Kizito Ngoa, noted that builders often fail to secure permits and try to cut corners to save money. In the meantime, the main opposition group in Kenya says it is taking a break from cost of living protests this week and will instead hold public vigils in honor of people killed in previous demonstrations. The Azimio coalition claims there have been at least 50 deaths so far, with hundreds of wounded people taken to hospitals. It accuses police of engaging in excessive force and brutality against civilians, some of whom it says were nowhere near the protest scenes. Meanwhile, the Interior Minister has defended the police's use of force, saying they had found themselves in highly dangerous situations. A police oversight body says they have begun investigations into the latest reports of atrocities, but told newsmen that their capacity to conduct investigations was limited as they only had 250 officers spread across the country. In the meantime, 2 people have been rescued alive, but 17 others were found dead after the boat they were all traveling in capsized off Senegal's capital city. Reports say divers and firefighters are still searching in Dakar a day after the vessel was first discovered. And while President Macky Sall has offered his heartfelt condolences to the families and loved ones of the victims, who he says were Senegalese. Elsewhere, Algeria has summoned senior Danish and Swedish diplomats to condemn the continued attacks and copies of the Quran in the 2 countries. Earlier on Monday, the biggest market in Qatar is reported to have removed any products which come from Sweden. Meanwhile, there have been protests against this in several Muslim-majority countries, with campaigners and governments demanding that Sweden ban the burning of Islam's most sacred book. According to reports, 2 people from a group calling itself Danish Patriots burned a copy of the Quran in Denmark's capital, Copenhagen. Still in Africa, Rwanda's Senate Vice President Experience Nyira Safari has penned and posted on Twitter a lengthy apology to President Paul Kagame after she participated in a function to introduce a clan leader. Nyira Safari said she had done a horrible thing for taking part in that function, an act that the governing RPF party said threatens the unity of all Rwandans. Other party members who took part have also apologized. Now, reports say one vice mayor resigned on Monday night following the incident. Meanwhile, the clan leader who was introduced at the function that took place earlier this month also said sorry. The issue around ethnicity in Rwanda remains sensitive almost 3 decades after the genocide, where around 800,000 Tutsi and moderate Hutu were killed in 100 days. In the meantime, airstrikes and artillery barrages from Sudan's warring generals killed at least 16 people in a Khartoum neighborhood today. Reports say after more than 100 days of war, the latest bombardments added to a toll of at least 3,900 killed nationwide. According to the committee, in a statement provided to newsmen, the total number of casualties from the latest strikes was still unclear. And while the war that began on April 15 between Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and his former deputy Mohammed Hamdan Daglo, commander of the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces RSF, has uprooted more than 3.3 million other people from their homes. On the foreign scene, Florida governor and Republican presidential aspirant Ron DeSantis was involved in a car accident in Tennessee in the United States, but did not sustain any injury. A spokesperson for his campaign, Brian Griffin, disclosed that the accident occurred today. Griffin said DeSantis had the accident when he was traveling to Chattanooga, Tennessee for private fundraisers for his campaign. Reports say his team were also unharmed and no further details were published about the incident. So on the foreign scene, the Spanish Defense Ministry has said that Leopard 2 tanks are among a new batch of military and humanitarian equipment en route from Spain to Ukraine. In a statement, the ministry said the shipment had departed from the port of Santander and was expected to be delivered to Ukraine's military in early August. The statement identified the shipment to include 4 Leopard 2A4 tanks, 10 M113 armored personnel carriers, 10 cargo trucks, 1 armored multi-purpose vehicle, and 5 ambulances, including 2 armored ambulances. Meanwhile, 2 pilots died when their water-bombing plane crashed while battling a blaze on the Greek island of Evia today, as wildfires flared across the Mediterranean. Greece's fire department said the Canadair aircraft crashed into a ravine close to where the fire started on Sunday. Footage showed the plane clipping a tree before falling nose first and exploding. According to reports, the pilots were members of the Greek Air Force, and the Defense Ministry said it had declared a 3-day mourning period. Meanwhile, the plane was among at least 3 other aircrafts and around 100 firefighters confronting the flames on Evia. Lebanon's powerful Parliament Speaker Nabil Berri met today with French Special Envoy Jean-Yves Le Drian in Beirut to help resolve divisions that have left the presidency vacant for nearly 9 months. A statement from Berri's office said the meeting was good and that an opening has pierced through Lebanon's power vacuum without elaborating. According to reports, mired in a grueling economic crisis since 2019, Lebanon has been governed by a caretaker cabinet for more than a year and without a president since late October. Meanwhile, Le Drian, on his second mission to Lebanon, gave no public statement after the meeting with Berri. In the meantime, the former Chinese Communist Party chief in the e-commerce hub of Hangzhou, Zhou Jianzhong, has been handed a suspended death sentence after he was found guilty of taking $25 million in bribes. According to government data, tackling corruption has been a centerpiece of President Xi Jinping's time in power, with more than 1.5 million officials affected. Reports say Zhou Jiangyang, the former Communist Party secretary of Hangzhou, was handed a death sentence with a 2-year suspension after a court found him guilty of taking more than 182 million yuan in bribes. Meanwhile, suspended death sentences are usually reduced to life imprisonment in China if the accused is not found guilty of other crimes during the reprieve period. Still on the foreign scene, Kiev military officials have said that Ukrainian forces have made gains along the southern front. The Ukrainian military's general staff spokesperson Andriy Kovalev said Kiev's forces had success in the direction of Staromorsk and the Berdyansk front, south of Velika Novozilka. According to him, Ukrainian forces are entrenching themselves in the reached positions, adding that Russian troops were resisting strongly. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. Here is Davina Praise-Oman.
Thank you. Good evening. It is business news. My name is Davina Praise-Oman. In the news, IMF raises 2023 global growth forecast. The world economy is expected to expand by 3% in 2023, which has been revised upwards from the April assessment 2.8% growth. According to the latest update of the International Monetary Fund, IMF's World Economic Outlook. However, it still remains weak by historical standards due to the impact of central bank policy rate increases aimed at combating inflation. The 2024 projection was unchanged at 3%. The IMF also stated its expectation for global inflation to decline to 6.8% in 2023 and further to 5.2% in 2024, while the core rate is projected to decrease at a more gradual pace. In terms of individual economies, the U.S. economy is predicted to grow by 1.8% this year and 1% in 2024. In the euro area, GDP growth is expected to slow to 0.9% in 2023 before picking up in 1.5% in 2024. The UK is likely to experience growth of just 0.4% in 2023 and 1% in the following year. As for China and Japan, they are forecasted to grow by 5.2% and 1.4% respectively in 2023 and by 4.5% and 1% in 2024. Copper surges on China's stimulus pledge. Copper prices approached the $3.9 per pound mark and reached their highest level since July 14th, driven by perspectives of a demand recovery after China's commitment to providing further support. Beijing recently announced plans to bolster economic policy adjustments with a focus on expanding domestic demand. Additionally, measures to support private investment and develop underdeveloped areas in megacities were unveiled by China's state planner earlier. Elsewhere, concerns about shortages have also contributed to the price surge. In May, copper output in top producer Chile declined by 14% year-on-year, signaling potential supply constraints as the metal plays a crucial role in the world's transition to sustainable energy resources. In Nigeria, the Central Bank of Nigeria lifted its benchmark interest rate by another 25 basis points to 18.75% in a decision announced today, July 25, 2023, and less than expected. It marks the fourth consecutive rate hike so far this year, bringing borrowing costs to their highest since the monetary policy rate was adopted in 2006. The decision is the first since new President Bola Tinubu suspended Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele, who had used unorthodox policies to keep the country's currency artificially strong and lent directly to businesses to try to boost economic growth. The headline inflation rate in Nigeria accelerated for the sixth month to 22.79% in June 2023, its highest since September of 2005, from 22.41% in the prior month. Nigerian stock market report. At the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the benchmark all-share index increased by 722.74 basis points to close at 65,991.02 points. Compared with yesterday's trading day, today's data shows a 33% decline in volume, 43% decline in turnover, and 15% decline in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 35.9 trillion naira. In the aggregate, 117 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 32 gainers and 30 losers. Ikeja Hotel led the gainers with 10% share price appreciation, closing at 2 naira 97 kobo per share. On the losing side, Cornwall came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 10% at 101 naira 25 kobo per share. Japan Gold and Ventures recorded the highest volume of 72.5 million traded shares. This is all on business news, and back to you for the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Davina. Still to come in the news. The Tigers depart Nigeria for Rwanda. Please stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. Now in health, the federal government has said that it would expand the country's health insurance coverage to reach out to at least 50 million Nigerians within the next 4 years. The federal government said one of the principal objectives of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu-led administration is to achieve universal health coverage by ensuring that all Nigerians have access to qualitative health care. Speaking at the 40th anniversary of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital Borno State. The Vice President, Kashim Shettima, who was represented by the Special Advisor to the President on Health, Dr. Salma Kolo, said the federal government is committed to reaching out to millions of Nigerians through the health insurance scheme. He assured Nigerians of access to quality healthcare services through strengthened primary and secondary health facilities in the country. So in health now, experts say people living with the human immunodeficiency virus HIV who achieve an undetectable level of the virus by consistent use of antiretroviral therapy cannot transmit HIV to their sexual partners and are at low risk of transmitting the virus to their children. They noted that evidence from the World Health Organization indicates that there is negligible or almost zero risk of transmitting HIV when a person has a viral load measurement of less than or equal to 1,000 copies per ml. According to a pediatrician, Dr. Esther Christian, the essence of antiretrovirals is to reduce the viral load of the person's HIV to the point that it cannot infect any other person, adding that people living with reduced viral load can live their lives normally without creating problems for others. Let's head over now to Isaac for latest sports stories.
Well, thank you very much. In sports, ahead of the 2023 Women's Afro Basketball Championship, Nigeria's D Tigers departed the shores of the country today for Kigali, Rwanda, venue of the event. After the opening trials in the United States and Nigeria, the defending champions have been in camp preparing to defend their crown. The team and technical crew arrived at the airport this morning ready to leave for Rwanda. The Nigerian side will play the opening game of the championship on Friday, 28th of July against DR Congo. Players on board include Amio Konkwo, Murjanatu Musa, Palace, Kunanya Akbana, Adenike Olawiye, Lauren Ebo, Blessing Jofo, Sarah Goke, Toyosi Abiola, Okori Funanya, Adeyeye Debola, Tom Taiwo, Elizabeth Balogun, and Erica Gumike. While in tennis, Emerald Raducanu's agent has defended the player's approach after criticism of a turnover of coaches. The 20-year-old who won the US Open age 18 in 2021 has worked with 5 coaches in the past 2 years. IMG Senior Vice President Mark Essenberg told the tennis podcast that the approach has worked for Raducanu and her father Ian. Raducanu started her career with Nigel Sears, who left shortly after she reached the 4th round of Wimbledon in 2021, before Andrew Richardson guided her to her famous victory at Flushing Meadows. Tobin Belt was appointed in November 2021 but left in April 2022. He was replaced by Dimitri Tusanov, who won the red flags and potential problems if Raducanu continued to listen to many voices. Last month, he parted company with Sebastian Sachs. Raducanu had surgery in May on both wrist and an ankle and is not expected to play again until later this year. Well, in football, Rivers United have been drawn in the first preliminary round of the CAF Confederations Cup. The Port Harcourt club earned the slot following their impressive performance in Africa's second-tier club competition last season. Rivers United were eliminated at the quarter-final stage by Tanzania Simba SC last term. Stanley Guma's side will face the winners of the tie between Eto Filante of Burkina Faso and Senegal's Zingo Cho for a slot in the group stage. Vendor Insurance, Nigeria's other representatives in the competition, face a tough hurdle in the bid to make it to the group stage. The Median Arsenals will keep a date with ASO Shilef of Algeria in the first round. If Nigeria Federations Cup champions scale through, they would face former champions RS Berkane in the second round. This is the first time Ben Insurance will be taking part in this competition. Finally, from the transfer scene, Atlanta striker Rasmus Højlund has agreed with Manchester United on a 5-year contract. This was revealed by Fabrizio Romano on Tuesday afternoon. It is now left for both clubs to agree a fee, with the Serie A side demanding between 90 to 100 million euros. Højlund and his camp have agreed on personal terms, and he's set to sign a 5-year deal with United. With that's it on sports. My name is Isaac. Over now to Simon Oko for entertainment news.
Thank you, Isaac. In entertainment, Nigerian comedian Muhammadu Bashir Abdullahi, popularly known as Father DMW, has narrated how he disguised as a woman to escape from his hometown, Maiduguri, Borno State, to Lagos to avoid being indoctrinated into the Boko Haram terrorist group. He said the terrorists were on a rampage, forcing and aiming young men to join their group, but he escaped after disguising himself as a lady in a hijab. The Instagram celebrity said the terrorists slaughtered any young man who refused to join the sect. He said on getting to Lagos, he became a bike rider, and his fame came through famous singer Davido, who he ran errands for. Moving forward, former Big Brother Naija Season 3 housemate Bamike Oluwomi, popularly known as Bam Bam, has revealed that she participated in the reality TV show because of her acting career. According to the thespian, she was tired of going to movie auditions without getting on the cast, so she decided to take advantage of the publicity of the Big Brother platform to boost her career. She said that after she came out of Big Brother show, her career skyrocketed. Remember that Bam Bam and her love interest in the Big Brother house, Teddy A, got married in 2019. The couple welcomed their first child, Zendaya, in 2020 and their second child, Maya, in March 2022. In the American scene, American reality TV star Kim Kardashian has revealed that she used to be a football player. According to her, she played as a goalkeeper and center forward for 6 years before quitting. She said she wasn't good at football but loved the game. Kim stated this on the sideline of the Inter Miami vs Cruz Azul Leagues Cup match at the DRV PNK Stadium. The reality TV star and her children were among the high-profile celebrities who were in attendance to watch Lionel Messi's debut for Major League Soccer club Inter Miami. Still on the international scene, a Spanish judge in Barcelona has ordered a second investigation against Shakira for alleged tax fraud. It was reported that the investigation comes after Judge Marco Jesus Juberayes argued that Shakira living in Spain for over 200 days from 2012 to 2014 makes her eligible and liable to pay $16.2 million in unpaid taxes in the foreign country. It was reported that the investigation comes after Judge Marco Jesus Juberayes argued that Shakira living in Spain for over 200 days from 2012 to 2014 makes her eligible and liable to pay $16.2 million in unpaid taxes in the foreign country. Judge Juberayes alleged that her financial advisor used a series of offshore bank accounts to hide her sources of income over the years. Shakira's legal team has maintained innocence and is calm and confident in a favorable resolution to her tax affairs. The 46-year-old Colombian singer Shakira Isabel Mebarak was said to have evaded payments of taxes in Spain between 2012 and 2014 when she was living in Spain with Gerard Piqué and their family. Despite all these allegations, Shakira argued that she maintained her primary residence in the Bahamas during the period and was touring internationally. The judge, however, ruled that there was evidence of criminality sufficient for Shakira to be brought to trial on charges of tax fraud. The judge, however, ruled that there was evidence of criminality sufficient for Shakira to be brought to trial on charges of tax fraud. And that's it on entertainment. My name is Simon Oko. Back to you, Xavier Robert.
That's all we had for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrum.ng. You've been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert. Wishing you a terrific night rest. Bye-bye.